we'll get started. So I have Jezebel, my new dog. She's been experiencing all of these major shifts. Like we had the running away, we had the fires, we had the new place in general, and then we moved here. And so there's just been this constant upheaval. And I'm used to her being like upset about things, but she's started to get to the point where she's not super upset about things. And I've noticed, like, I'm now telling myself those stories, like, oh, I don't know if she's gonna be all right. And then she is. Like, she met another dog friend yesterday and it went wonderful. And I was the only one that was nervous and anxious about the situation, which probably inhibited her ability to be calm about things because she's just sensing that, right? Like they do. And so it really was just a really good reminder to me about how much we tell ourselves these stories and have these ideas about how things should go. And it's not being present, it's not being connected to exist out in this possibility that hasn't manifested yet. And then you're like that much more likely to find yourself in that situation. And now I wonder about how much this dog has been freaked out just because I'm freaking out about her freaking out, which is not helpful to anybody. We're gonna create some space in the body today, just keeping things open and moving, a lot of side bending action. We're gonna start off with some alternate nostril breathing. If you take your index finger and your middle finger together, it leaves this open space, and then your ring finger, you're gonna put that to the left side of your nose and then your thumb against the right side of your nose. And you just rest them there without closing so that they're ready for you. And take a breath in through both nostrils, just nice and easy, and breathe out. And then you're gonna use your thumb to close your right nostril just enough that you can inhale through your left. And then you're gonna close the left and exhale through the right. And then stay there on the right side. Inhale through the right nostril. And then open the left, close the right, exhale through the left nostril. Stay there. Inhale through the left. Exhaling out through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhaling through the left. So you stay to inhale. Switch to exhale. Stay to inhale. Switch to exhale. 3 more rounds, just working the breath just like that. Take your last round of breath, ending with an exhale through the right side. Bring your hands down into your lap. In fact, place the palms down on your lap. A moment to turn inwards. If you do feel a little freed up of any congestion around your nose, if you want to grab a tissue real fast and then come back to us, it does clear things up. Those of us with fall seasonal sort of allergy things. And in this last few moments where we breathe before we begin the movement in our practice, tune into what is. Not about what might be, not about what could happen. Feel your breath, feel your body. Slow music. Notice the temperature in your space. Any place you might want to pay particular attention to in your body as we move forward. And then take another big breath in through your nose, and we'll exhale through the mouth. Again, like that. For 3 ohms. And then you're going to take your right hand down by your right side and take your left arm up and over and let it shadow your face so it just comes forward a little bit. So you can feel the back of your rib cage stretching out. Let your left hip get a little bit more weighted to get some more space there. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. And then you're gonna lift up, get your spine straight up, take your left hand down to your left side and just reach the fingertips out in the air and relax your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Stay there as you breathe in. Stay there as you breathe out. And at the end of your exhale, turn your nose down towards your shoulder. And keep reaching out through your left fingertips. It's just gonna create a little bit more open space on that shoulder. One more exhale. And then start to lift yourself up. Set the left hand down, walk it out a little bit, and take your right arm up and over. So it's just slightly in front of your face, and you can feel your shoulder blades separating and opening up towards your fingertips. And the right hip becomes a little bit more weighted, just releasing it intentionally back down into the floor or the pillow, whatever you're sitting on. Feel a big breath in and a big breath out. And then start to come up. You're gonna lift all the way up and then stay lifted, take the arm down, reaching it out in the air, and then dropping your left ear over towards your left shoulder. Like you're bewitching something over there with your fingertips. Just make sure they stay active. Breathing in. And as you exhale, turning your nose down towards your shoulder. One more round of breath. And start to lift your head up. And then place the hands down in your lap. And then start to roll back on your pelvis so that you round through the spine and drop the chin in towards your chest. And then inhale, roll the shoulders back and pull your heart forward. Exhale, rounding back. And then inhale, lifting yourself up. Do that about 3 more times on your own. You can rock on your hips a little bit, maybe even lift your knees up if that feels good. I like to pull the arms back to really open the chest. Go ahead and settle back into the center. We're going to take both arms up, lift them. Exhale, side bend over towards the right side. Inhale, come back to the center. Exhale, side bend over towards the left. Inhale to the center. Exhale, side bend. If you don't touch the floor, it's a little bit more intense, so it's up to you whether you'd like to have that contact with the mat. If you notice you're gripping and kind of tilting over too much, try to release that. Just keep going side to side. About 2 more rounds. Watch the collarbones. Make sure that they're still open and soft. And come on up. Release your arms down. Take your fingertips down behind you. You can turn your feet to face up. And just let your heart stretch up and forward. Take a big inhale. Exhale. Relax the heart. If you're seated on anything, go ahead and move it off to the side. And then you're gonna sit up nice and tall, legs extended out in front of you. If your lower back is tender, bend into your knees. If you're feeling a little bit stronger, try to leave them more straight. And then let that spine curl itself down onto the floor. See if you can feel each individual backbone getting down there. I feel like I've got like 3 or 4 of them somewhere that have a really hard time articulating. So I'm just gonna stay that much more present. And then when you get down, extend your arms behind you and your toes forward. Take an inhale, feel yourself filling up. And exhale, relax. And then bring your feet out about the width of your mat. Open your arms up. And then your left foot and your left hand are going to be the targets here. So go ahead and put your right ankle on top of your left. And then reach your right arm over towards your left. And I've already got a little bit of space today, so my hip isn't really lifting up. If yours is, just try to relax it down. It doesn't have to be all the way on the ground, but you do want to let that right hip stay weighted. And if you want to get a little bit extra, you can reach your right ankle kind of across the left foot, just sliding that limb out. Maybe you hold onto your right hand with your left hand and give a little pull. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, drop your belly down towards the spine. One more time, inhale. Exhale, drop that belly down, a little bit of core work. And then release that stretch, uncross your legs, come back to that X shape you made. And then you're gonna cross the left ankle over the right, and then reach your left arm over towards the right, and you can give a little tug. Give a little reach. If your hip's lifting up, see what you can do about dropping it back. Inhale. Exhale, draw the belly down towards the spine. Inhale, feel the side stretch. Exhale, belly drops down towards the spine. And then release that. Go ahead and open yourself up. And bring the knees into the chest. Yourself a little squeeze, a little rock around side to side. And then open your knees up, reach for your shins. So you're gonna hold onto your ankles or more up by the knees, wherever on the shins that you can hold. With your knees out wide and your feet towards each other. It's fine if they don't touch, they can be more separate. On me, it feels a little bit gentler to have the toes touching. Find wherever gentle is on your body. One more breath in. One more breath out. Start to release the legs, bring the feet down. Go ahead and stretch yourself out again. Relax as you exhale. Roll yourself over onto your belly. When you get onto your belly, bringing your hands in by your low ribs. Wiggle your shoulders out a few times, finding some space around the shoulder joints. We're going to start opening the chest in a few nice low cobra poses. So don't worry about how high you get. See about getting long. Take an inhale, toes reach back, heart goes forward. Exhale, soften down. Really open those collarbones. Breathe in. Exhale, soften. You can take your hands off the floor if you do want to make this a little bit more intense. You leave the hands on the floor if that was intense enough where you were. 2 more. Keep opening those collarbones, even bigger this last time. And you're going to curl your toes under, leave your knees down, lift your belly and your pelvis up, and then push yourself up to your hands and knees. Walk your hands back. And you're gonna take your right leg out to the right side, like so. So it's about in line with your knee. You can just do that where you're at. You're gonna let your hips tilt forward, so the tailbone tilts up. And if this feels like a lot, you stay here. You breathe softness into that sensation. If you want a little bit more, you're going to come out onto your fingertips, which can be intense in the shoulders. So if that was too much, you walk the hands back and you don't worry about the fingertips. If you want to go a little bit further and melt that heart down towards the floor. And you have to keep reaching from your armpits into your fingertips. And this is not that easy. Big breath in. Big breath out. And you're going to start walking your hands back in. And then you're going to take your left hand over towards the left, and your right arm comes up and over, and you're in this side gate space. I'll just do like this. It makes more sense, right? So you can see I've got one line from my hand to my knee to my foot. Big breath in. Big breath out. You're going to draw your belly in. It doesn't have to be graceful. You could put your hands at your hips and even kind of sort of fall over as you do it. See if you can come up so that your ribs are above your hips. And there's a slight bump of the hips out towards the left side. Take your right hand down and your left arm up and over. And instead of getting into a fold, can you get into a reach? Big breath in. Big breath out. We're going to take the hands back down, reach it up and over, and then come down into table pose. So you'll come back to where you were. And then step your left foot out to the side. I'm going to stay facing you like this. I think that makes more sense. So you're going to tilt your pelvis up. Maybe you walk the hands forward and you'll be on fingertips. There's a little bit of reaching from the armpit. You could always stay here on the hands and melt the heart forward. That's also good. It's kind of intense around the upper body to take this variation. Being on the fingertips, feeling those armpits roll out to your hands. One more breath. Start to walk those hands back in, and you're going to walk your hands over towards your right side so that your hips are going to lift up. So it's easy to kind of let this hip drop back. You want to open the hips up and forward to open this space, and take your left arm up and over. And reach out. And lots of space through that side body. Feel the skin stretching. And it involves some core strength, some oblique interaction to get up here. So you can utilize that all the way up. And then your hand comes down. You bump the hips slightly to the right, just a little bit. And then it's a reach instead of a fold through this hand. Excellent. Big inhale. Big exhale. Come back to where you were, reach that arm up and over. Breathing in, breathing out, and take the hands down, coming back into table pose. From table pose, widen your knees, toes towards each other, sit back into child's pose. Maybe rock your hips a little bit side to side if there's any low back tension, or you just kind of want to release that space a little bit more. One more round of breath. And then start to pull yourself up. You might walk your hands forward, your knees back. It's about opening the collarbones, and as slowly as you want to go, lower yourself down onto your belly. Untuck your toes, reach them back. You're going to roll the collarbones open, come up into cobra pose. This time we're going to stay here. It doesn't have to be high. You could lift your hands. See about opening your collarbones, reaching the ears away from your shoulders. Reach those legs back, straight out through your toenails. Breathing in. Exhale, soften down, hands just behind the shoulders. Curl the toes, lift the belly. You could lift the knees. It's like way harder. I don't think I want to today, but you could. You're gonna lift your belly and your pelvis up and then push the floor away. Keep reaching from the outsides of your hands down into your palms and curl the toes, press back, downward dog. Rest your head down, maybe wiggle hips out a little bit. Breathing in. Breathing out. And then walk your feet wider and bring your hands back. You can bend your knees, absolutely, as much as you need. But you're gonna come back until your weight is on your feet, and you could lift your hands up if you wanted to, but probably you don't. It's just nicer to leave them down there. To feel the spine stretch out. You can bend your knees as much as you need to. Sometimes we're like all the way here. Feel that tailbone reaching up. Let the heart and the head and the hands melt and reach down. Big breath in. Big breath out. And start walking your hands back in more, bringing yourself up to standing. And you're going to take, I'll mirror you, take your left leg and cross it behind your right. You're going to reach up, hold on to your left arm. You're going to bump the hips over towards the left as you reach up through that left side. See if you can squeeze the inner thighs up to lift and open the front of your hips more. Good. Breathe in. And breathe out. We're going to come back up. You're going to leave the legs crossed, fold forward. You can stop with your fingertips at your shins. You could come down more. You can bend into the knees. If you kind of lift your front heel, you might have more space to get down there. Try to keep your back leg a little bit more straight. Get a nice stretch to the IT band, the outside of that thigh. Good. And just for fun, try to keep your legs crossed as you stand back up, which might go well and it might feel very awkward. And then switch the cross of your legs. Good job. Okay. Reach your arms up. I'm gonna hold on to your right wrist and send the hips over towards that right side. Try to squeeze your inner thighs together to lift the front of your pelvis, which will lift up the front of the abs. Breathe in. Stay there as you exhale. And then come on up, back to the center. Go ahead and fold forward. You can absolutely shift your weight around. Sometimes releasing the big toes, bending the knees a little bit will give a little bit more space. Sometimes you can intensify things by pushing into those big toes. Try to feel your tailbone rolling upwards and skywards. Relax your head. Big breath in. Big breath out. Coming back up, lifting yourself up, unwinding your legs. You're gonna take your right foot forward and your left foot back. Find a nice long lunge on your mat. My back foot is lifted, my back heel is straight up in the air. If you feel your inner thighs lift up, you'll get a little bit more space, a little bit more strength in this shape. Reach your arms up. Push your left heel back, the inside of your heel. Push the inside of your right heel down. Good. Ooh, one more breath in. And exhale, hands come to your heart, lean forward. We're gonna do a twist. You might bring your elbow down to your knee. You might take your hand down to your knee and the other hand comes to your hip. Make sure that the knee isn't folding and that it stays forward. And then try to push down on the inside of your right heel and back through the inside of your left heel so your legs are a little bit stronger. One more breath in. Exhale. Come out of the twist. You're gonna step the back foot up, 1 or 52 steps, as many as you need. And then start to find the other side, so you'll have your left foot forward and your right foot back. I want to have the heel straight up, so that I have my hips facing straight on and forward. Reach your arms up. Ooh. And keep lifting that inner leg line, pushing out through the inner foot line. Just being very present in that function, that strength in your legs, and the space you're creating in your spine as you continue to lift up. Big breath in. Exhale, hands to the heart, lean it forward. And then you can twist like this. This is still hard. This is a little bit more revolved, and it's not better or worse, it's different. From either place, push into the inside edges of your feet. You see my back knee lift a little bit. I'm a little bit more active back there. Not carrying any dead weight. Breathing in. Breathing out. Start to come back up. You're going to step the back foot forward. Coming on up to standing. Take your, can't see me, I'm black. Take your left foot up into tree pose. It might come in the inside of your thigh. It might come to the inside of your shin. Either way is fine. You're going to take the front of the hips and lift them up, reach that knee down, and then take your hands out and open. Just leaving the palms up. So like, all right, tree pose, what do you got for me? What's it going to be like today? Whatever the reality is, I release my expectations. If I fall over, I fall over. It's just tree pose. One more breath. Set your foot down, wiggle things out a little bit. And you'll come up to the other side. Palms up. Lift the front of your hips, reach that knee out. It's nice and easy in the arms, like, it is what it is. Nice. One more breath in. One more breath out. Release your shape, come on out of it, wiggle things out a little bit. And then take your feet out real wide. I'm gonna turn right toes over to the right, left toes turn in. Come into warrior two. Turn your arm, take your arms out. And then turn your palms to face up. It will often help to open and expand the chest. Can you keep the chest expanded as you turn your palms to face back down? Notice which of your feet is carrying more of the weight. Can you balance the weight between your feet? Breathing in. Breathing out. And then reach out before you take your right elbow down, and then bring the left arm up and over. You can take your fingertips and just kind of poke your low ribs in a little bit, and then push out through your back foot from the sides of the rib cage out through those lifted fingertips. And you do just let your belly fall back slightly so you can get a little bit more back stretch. Big breath in. Big breath out. And see if you can lift yourself all the way up, straighten the front leg, bump the hips back, come out into triangle pose. And in triangle pose, you can stay in our slightly more classic shape with the arms coming up. Do though reach this thigh bone max, the top hip tilts over, and you might reach your arm up and over. And it can be very easy to put a back bend into it. Don't put a back bend into it. Soften that belly in. Oh, so much more side body space there. Good. Breathing in. Breathing out. See if you can come from all the way down here, all the way back up. Ribs above your hips. Turn your toes forward. Fold forward. Wide-legged fold. Just however you like it. Bent knees if you like. Maybe bobble your head out a bit. more breath in and out. And bring your hands to your hips. Start to lift yourself up. Take your time getting there. And transition to warrior two on the other side. So left toes over, right toes turn in, bend, and then extend those arms open. And reach from the inner thigh out and forward on that left leg. Try turning your palms up. Notice if that changes the feeling in your chest. And try to keep that open space as you turn the palms down. Notice here if your ribs are opening out and forward, or if you can keep them just gently contained. Just connected, nothing forced. Exhaling. And then inhaling, reaching out, bringing the elbow down, letting those ribs come in, and the arm coming up and over. Reach down into your right foot and out through your right shoulder, straight up to the fingertips. More and more space. Keep letting those ribs fall in. From the side pans down through your foot and up through your fingertips. Big exhale. Lift it all the way up. Straighten your leg. Bump the hips back and come forward into triangle pose. And you could stay in a shape that's a little bit more familiar or more beneficial to you today. Or start to take that side body stretch up and over. And try not to curve the spine. You still want to rest that hip forward, rest those low ribs, and get a lot of space along just the back side of that shoulder. One more steady, even breath in and out. Draw your belly in, come all the way back up. Turn all the toes forward and forward fold. This time, take your left hand and bring it out in front of you a little bit, and then reach your right arm over towards your left foot, and it might just kind of scooch over a little bit. You might get all the way over to your shin or to your ankle, and then let your belly fall into the spine. You get a little bit more space to twist. You're gonna pull with your right hand if it's all the way on your leg. And then from the left armpit, reach out to your left fingertips. Holy Jesus. One more exhale. Start to release this twist. Come back to the center. Bring the hands in underneath your shoulders. You might be on fingertips. You might have bent knees. Reach your hips back and your heart forward. Just lengthening the spine, coming back to center. Breathing in here. And then as you exhale, bring it back down. Now you'll take your right hand up forward a bit. Your left hand reaches underneath to your shin or your ankle or just onto the floor on the inside of that foot. If you do have the leg, you're gonna pull with that hand. Reach from the armpit out through the fingertips on the floor. Soften the belly in to allow the rotation. Ooh, lots of stuff. Big breath in. Big breath out. And start to release your twist. Bring the hands back in underneath your shoulders, long spine. Send the heart forward, the tail back. Inhaling and exhaling, soften. Push down into your feet, draw the belly in, come all the way back up to standing. And then bring your legs in. Bring your big toes into touch. We're gonna sit the hips back in a chair pose, making sure that your knees don't go forward of your toes. If you can, interlace your fingers, make like steeple fingers or water gun with your hands, and you're gonna reach your fingertips away from your hips. So long spine, reaching the hips back in chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, maybe drop the hips a little bit more. And then inhale, straight legs, open hips, hard up to the fingertips. One more breath in. Exhale, sit it back. This time, hands down at your heart. Now, what you might do, I'll mirror you. You might take your left elbow down to your right knee, or it can be hand at the knee, hand at the hip like we were, but try not to let that knee go forward. Keep the knee, then squeeze the inner thighs together. You're gonna take the left ribs and roll them over towards your thumbs. Take your right collarbone and roll it open. And then take your left hip and relax it back just slightly. Give a little bit more space on that side of your ribs, on that side of your torso. Last exhale. Inhale, come back to the center, straighten your legs, reach the arms up, find center. Long in the middle. And as you exhale, twist over towards the left side. So you might have hand at thigh and hip, or you might have hands together and you have the elbow crossed. And then don't twist here. Try to twist in that open space, yeah? Rest your right hip back, roll the right ribs over towards your thumbs. Feel that left collarbone opening. Reach the backs of your ears away from your tailbone. Big inhale. Big exhale. Come back to the center. Lift those arms up as long as you can, as open in the front body. Maybe even lean your hips forward. Feel your inner thighs squeezing up. Big breath in. And then separate your feet about hip width apart. Fold forward. Rest into it. You bend into your left leg, leave your left hand down, and the right hip gets a little sassy, bumping out to the side. Maybe you open your right arm out into a twist, feeling the collarbone open up. One more inhale like this. Exhaling, and then taking the right hand down and switching sides. So you have more of a bend into the right leg, and the hip kind of bumps out, the left arm opens. One more inhale. One more exhale. And then taking the hands down, soft knees, just let your head bobble out a little bit. And bring your fingertips to your shins. Roll the heart forward, send the tailbone back. Exhale, soften in, stand all the way up, lift your arms when you get there. And then hands down at your heart. We're going to take a standing figure four balance. If you want to be closer to something that you could hold on to just in case, you're welcome to do that. You're going to take your right ankle over your left knee. Oh, no. Okay, now I'm mirroring you. I have to be over here. I can't see. Good. And what will happen often is that left hip kind of glides over. You want to send that left hip back. Sometimes fingertips. The shin can help to lengthen your spine. Sometimes hands at heart is a good place to be. If you're feeling a little bit more frisky this morning, or this afternoon, whatever it is, you're gonna reach your arms out. I don't have them really close. I wanna have a little bit of space so I can really feel that broad space across my back. Whole outer hip bend. That was the thing. Exhale. Stand it up. Unwind. Ooh. Wiggle what needs to be wiggled. And then your other leg will come up and over. And when you get there, don't lean out to the side. Really send that hip back so you've got lots of space along your torso. Hands could be here, here, or here. Reach it back. Big exhale, reach out, long, strong open back. Oh man, wiggly. One more breath out. You stand up, set your foot down, wiggle things out a little bit. You're gonna come back up towards the front of your mat space. Take an inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, fold it down. And keep the knees bent, roll the shoulders back, send your heart up and forward. Feel the hammies opening up. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, find downward dog or child's pose. It's up to you. Whichever feels better in your body right now. If you're in downward dog, use the outer shoulders to push into your hands. Feel all of that length and strength we've built up in the back body today. Big exhale. And we'll all come down into child's pose. Knees together or separate. And you're welcome to test it out and see which one feels better to you. Big breaths into that back body. Noticing the change in the feeling around the back of your rib cage. One more breath in. One more breath out. You're going to start to come up onto your hands and knees. You're going to bring your right foot outside of your right hand. Wiggle that foot as far forward as you can get it so that your hips start to come forward more. Reach your heart up and forward. You might be on fingertips. Just a little extra length in the arms. Having this leg really far forward is going to hike up your right hip, so try to rest that right hip back. Inhaling. Exhaling. One more breath in. Big breath out. You're going to start to pull your hips back. Pull that foot back about an inch or two. Bring it in a little bit closer so it's about where your shoulder is. You're going to leave your left hand down. Take your right hand to your right hip. Pull that right hip back. Push down on the inside of that right foot so that front leg is strong. And then take your right collarbone up into your fingertips. Lift it up. You can stay here. If you do want to make things a little more intense, you can curl the back toes under and lift that back knee, but you really have to lift those inner thighs and reach back through that back heel. One more exhale. And then the knee and the hand come down. I'm going to pull your right hip back. Take a little shift side to side in your hips. And then your left hand comes outside, or left foot comes outside of your left hand, and then forward more. Sometimes we don't take that extra journey. We really want to feel the legs splitting apart here, and the spine lengthening up and forward. You're so fluffy. Offer your left hip the chance to rest back. One more round of breath. You're going to bring that foot back a little bit, just a little, and then bring it in so you're a little bit more narrow. You might be on your right fingertips. You'll take the left arm up. Now, if you just kind of leave things opening, we don't have any strength there. So you have to push that foot down. Feel your hip going back. And feel your right ribs rolling over towards your left thigh. Stay there or lift the back knee. And it's up to you. It's easy to let that hip roll out. So you have to lift those inner thigh lines. Push down into the inner foot lines. Feel the heart stretching open, the ears away from the tailbone. Exhale here. And then hand down, knee down. And glide it back. And we're going to go ahead and sit back into child's pose again. I feel like I always get into this place where we never visit child's pose, and then it's like every other pose, child's pose. Big breath in. Big breath out. And then bring your hands in, start to lift yourself up. You're gonna take, You're gonna take your right foot up, not quite to your hands. So it's a little bit more open there. Turn your knee and your toe out. And you're gonna roll your outer left hip down to the floor. So for many of us, this will be plenty enough to get a stretch in the outer thigh. If you want to make that bottom leg a little bit more straight, you can get a little bit more space here. If you want to get more opening on the outside of this hip, you might bring this foot in a little bit closer. Maybe you can lift up through your ribs. Lots of side space here. Outer hip here. You can come down onto your forearm to do this if your wrists are feeling a little bit tender, or stay up on your hand. You're gonna push down into this foot, so this foot's gonna do a lot of the work, and then reach up and open through your top arm. Lift that bottom hip. Big breath in. And then exhale, lower it down. And then you're gonna unwind the leg. You're gonna find the other side. So come back into table pose. Got that like side plank, kickstand action, lots of space in the body. You're gonna bring the foot about halfway forward, and then you're gonna roll over so you're on the outside of that hip. And having more space in the limbs, a relaxed leg, this can be a little bit easier. If you want a little bit more, you might bring that foot in, lengthen that bottom leg, lengthen your spine. One more breath. It's pushing down into this foot. That's your kickstand to find this long side plank. And you still have to push into that bottom arm, but if you push into this foot, look how much more of my hips were able to lift up. Big inhale, reach out. And then exhale, set it back down. You're gonna unwind the legs. Come into table pose, grab your pillow or whatever you had. If you have a yoga block, you can grab that. Just set it back there. Take your left leg and cross it behind your right leg. Then you're gonna separate your feet and sit back, probably onto your pillow. Yep, I'm gonna shift. And you probably, I like coming from the front like that because it really helps to get my thighs a little bit closer together. Good. Option number one is to extend your bottom leg. We did that last week, a lot of that belly of the hamstring kind of stuff. We didn't do a lot of hamstring stuff today, so that might feel nice to you. You can stay here, breathing, thinking, open side of hip action. If you have the presence and the desire to go a little bit further, which also might be a nice distraction, you can take the arms up, hold on to, so if your right leg is in front, I'm not mirroring you right now, you might grab the top leg wrist and you're going to reach it up a little bit, more so as stimulating that connection to dropping that hip down. So I'm not really side bending because I'd fall over. Exhale, and switch sides. You can really feel it when you side bend over the top leg, a little bit more of that dropping down. Exhale, come on up, release your hands. You might take your hands forward. You might leave them back where they were. You might walk forward a lot or not at all. And just keep relaxing that lower back space. One more round of breath. And then walk your hands back and start to uncross the legs. Ooh. Bring your feet out a little bit wider than your hips. Just take a little gentle wiping of the knees side to side, a little windshield wiper action. And then bring the soles of the feet together. You're still seated up on whatever it was you were seated on. Take your right hand to the right, and then take your other hand onto your thigh. Just find this where you're opening this thigh. It's just a little bit of pressure of your thigh opening and releasing this inner thigh space. And then take the other side. Just so we aren't overly clenched before we come into the other cow face pose. Release your twist. You're gonna come back in a table pose. And then you need the other leg in front, so you'll cross the other leg behind, open your feet, sit back. In exact science of where the heck does that pillow go. You can extend that bottom leg. You do not have to have both folded up. You can fold over and put another pillow underneath your hips. That might help to really open things up here. Stay here, or reach the arms up. And we'll start off side bending away from the front leg. It's kind of hard, and you don't have to go very far. Just like relax it down, okay? One more exhale, and then up and over to the other side. Resting that hip down. Breathing in, breathing out, and then coming back up, resting your hands down, keeping them here, or letting them walk out further. Two more breaths. Walk it back. Unwind your legs. Take a little rocking around in those thighs. And bring the soles of your feet together. You're going to take one hand down and one hand onto your thigh. Go ahead and twist away from that leg, just gently pressing the flesh down, or pressing the flesh open. And then switching sides. Go ahead and lean back and let that inner thigh space release. Take your pillow out from underneath you. Just go ahead and extend your right leg out to the right. Bring your left hand down. We're going to lift the hips up, push the floor away, and come into Stargazer. Really letting those hips open up. You might find a lot more space in this pose. We come here a lot, but sometimes it's not fully open in all of these places. The heart, the hips, the side body. When you're ready, exhale and lower it down. And find the other side. And lean over to this hand, push down in this shin and this arm, and open the hips up and forward. Really reach that outer shoulder down into the floor and outer shoulder out to your fingertips. When you're ready, exhale. Go ahead and take the hands down. Take both legs out wide. And then come into a wide-legged forward fold. I like to leave the toes lifted, kind of pushing out through the balls of the feet in this space to really release this inner leg line. Yeah, you can come in as much as you like. Could be here. This can be a really good space to support those of us who feel a little bit more tight in the lower back. I'm not worrying about what you think it should look like. be concerned with what it is. The only story we need to tell ourselves is, yes, it is this way now. Take about 2 more breaths. And then start to draw it back in. Draw your left leg in, take your right leg and cross it over. A little different, now your legs are apart, so this knee is up and this knee is down. You're gonna hug onto the thigh, take your right hand behind you. Just a nice gentle twist. Breathe in. Breathe out. Release that. Start to come to the other side. So you'll tuck your right foot in, cross that left leg over. I'm not sitting on the foot, it's out from under my hip. This arm is just behind me. I'm just gonna hug into this thigh and just a gentle twist. Inhale. Exhale. And start to release that twist. We're going to come onto our knees and take a half camel on each side. We'll start up on the knees, hips above the knees, toes curled under to lift that under butt. And you're going to take your right hand to your hip. You could take the right hand down to your heel, but if that starts to create tension in the back, just bring your hand back up to your hip. So you can see that my hips are opening up and forward and not tilting back. Open up and forward here or here. You're going to take the opposite arm and reach upwards. So get a little twist. Really opening that front body. Let the heart turn upwards. One more breath in. Exhale, hips back. Give a little rest. And then to the other side. Hand comes down. Hips go forward, heart goes up. Don't think about what's going back. What can you open up and forward? And again, your hand could be at your hip here. That's still nice and supportive. A little bit less intense back bend. One more breath in. And then exhale, come back to the center. Go ahead and untuck your toes. Sit back at your heels. If this is not okay for your knees, just come to whatever a comfortable seat is for you. Take a few breaths, letting your body settle back into neutral. Sometimes camel pose can be really intense for our breath patterns. One more round of breath. And start to unwind your legs from underneath you. We're going to come down onto our backs. Spend some time with the legs open, feet together. If this is tender, you can take your hands underneath your thighs. Most of us will have to wiggle the shoulder blades underneath. If this is still tender, just lay it on one side and I'll let you know when we're halfway. So this leg's relaxed and then this leg is relaxed all the way down to the floor. Any way is fine. Find a place where your inner thighs are released and your body is not angry about it. About halfway through, if you are on one side and want to switch to the other. legs in. Step your feet out wider than your hips and let your knees knock against each other. Start to take both of your legs over towards the right, curl them in as much as you like. Open your arms out, finding a twist. Releasing your left collarbone open, softening your belly. As we start to let go of control of the breath. One more breath here. And then coming back to where your feet are on the floor. And let your knees roll over to the other side. And then maybe you snuggle them up a little bit closer towards you. Release the right collarbone, softening the belly with your exhales. Start to come back to the center. Taking whatever other shapes you need, or just coming right into Shavasana. As always, finding a shape where it is steady and comfortable for you to rest. Enjoy. into your body. Noticing how you feel. Pay attention to the parts of your body that might be speaking to you, the parts that you are noticing. When you're ready, roll yourself over to one side, turning inwards for a moment of gratitude for your practice. And when you're ready, find your own version of a comfortable seat. Bringing your hands together at your heart. Sealing our practice with one Om together. Bowing down to the love in our hearts and to the light and the darkness that resides within each of us. Namaste. Thanks for being here. She's rubbing in the carpet now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good
Oh.
eat.
So yeah, enjoy your new partners.
Good time. She likes it too.
When you see her like that, you can't believe that she's scared of anything.
I know. I'm like, oh, just nothing but love her. Yeah, good girl. Alright. Have a good day.
You too.
See you
See you next